Hello friends, so welcome to this lecture on Azure Firewall. So in the previous lectures we have discussed about the network security groups, application security groups, and we are discussing basically about the network security considerations that okay, what kind of controls we have within the Azure to secure our virtual network or to provide the network security. And using the Azure Firewall, we can achieve the network security by deploying it within the Azure VNet or virtual network or within the Azure. So what exactly is Azure Firewall? Like we have other services in Azure like virtual machine or Cosmos DB, Azure Firewall is a service or you can say a managed firewall within the Azure or a cloud-based network security service that helps you to protect various kind of network resources, or it could be your virtual machines, it could be your SQL servers, right? So with the help of which you can protect the resources or provide the network security by using the Azure Firewall. And before we dig further into this Azure Firewall, we need to understand that, okay, what exactly is the issue using with the NSG? So if you remember in the last lecture, we discussed the challenge with the NSG and then how we can solve that challenge with the application security group. But if you think from an organization perspective where you have huge number of virtual machines and database servers and web servers and the application. So in that case, if you have to manage, let's say, centralized way all the application security groups or the network security groups, it is a cumbersome task and it would be totally a mess if you need to manage centrally because there are different subscriptions, you have VNet and all those things. So really in order to solve that purpose, what you can do is you can deploy the Azure Firewall, which is a cloud-based service within the Azure itself. And in order to deploy the Azure firewall so that you can centrally manage it, you can deploy it in the hub and spoke model. So you can have different spokes wherein you have can have your virtual machines or your SQL servers. Like we have two spoke VNet, spoke one and spoke two in the diagram on the left. And you can see that okay, we have in the hub model Azure firewall deployed or a central VNet within which you have deployed the Azure firewall. So in that case, all the traffic from those particular spoke VNets, like here we have, will pass through the Azure firewall only. So let's say if you want to pass that traffic from for the internet, then it will pass through the Azure firewall and then it will reach the internet. So don't worry, we'll have a demo as well. So in that case, you'll have a better understanding how it actually works. And there are different features we have with the Azure Firewall that we also do that and study that. So you can also do the connectivity with the on-prem to have that application filtering or a traffic filtering. And with the Azure Firewall, you'll also get the Microsoft Threat Intelligence feeds. So we'll discuss that in a moment. Don't worry about that. So there are other things about the Azure firewall, so let's try to understand. The first is it is a fully stateful firewall as a service. So it does the stateful packet inspections. Means let's say if the traffic is allowed for port 80, then the same response will be allowed. Only traffic response for that port 80 will be allowed. So in that it maintains the connection state. And built-in high availability means it is the responsibility of Microsoft Azure to provide the high availability. Customer need not to worry about the high availability, doing the HA and all those things. Cloud scalability. So let's say if huge number of connection requests or incoming requests or outgoing requests are there, it will manage automatically. And you can centrally create, enforce, log application, network security, connectivity policies across your subscriptions, and this is fully integrated with your Azure Monitor for logging analytics. You can also send data to the other tools like Splunk, and you can do the monitoring and all those things. You can create queries, create your dashboards depending on the data. And now we'll move to the different features we have in case of Azure Firewall. So the first one is the network traffic filtering. That okay, you can allow certain traffic and you can deny certain traffic depending on your organization need and by applying the source and destination ports. You can have the this fully qualified FQDN tags with the help of which it generally allows you to allow well-known Azure network traffic through your firewall. For example, let's say if you want to allow the traffic for the Windows update. So what you can do is you can simply create a rule. In that case, it will allow Azure Firewall will allow the traffic for the Windows update to pass through it. Then we discussed about this threat intelligence in this particular diagram. So what it is, there are some Microsoft threat intelligence feeds, like Microsoft is getting data from the number of sources and from its analysis as well, from its machine learning capability, and it will provide the information that okay, what kind of IP addresses, if there is any kind of malformed IP address or the IP address which sends a virus or can be malicious for your organization. So all those feeds you will get it from here. Then is the application FQDN filtering you can do. This feature is still in preview. And then is the Azure monitoring login. You can archive logs to some storage account which you have for your centralized storage. Let's say for your attention policy, if you want to maintain, you can stream events to your event hub. Then you can also connect it with the event hub to Splunk. You can configure the monitoring and correlate the roles. And you can send them to Azure monitor logs as well. Apart from these features, there are features for the static netting, dynamic netting. So there are a number of features you can use in case of Azure Firewall. So this is it, friends. In this lecture, we discussed about Azure Firewall and the issue it solves with the NSG management and the application security group. And then we discussed about the different features we have in case of Azure Firewall. So thank you, friends. Thank you for watching this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture. Thank you.